Dean Curry here, Fantasy Football, RSVP. So let's get right to it and let's talk about stacking. What is stacking when it comes to fantasy football, and how can you use stacking to actually win your league each and every year? Well, a lot of people actually don't apply this technique, and it is really, really effective if you do it correctly. If you don't do it correctly, it could actually lead to something not being great and working against you and could be risky. But, in the case like when you look at, let's say, the Kansas City Chiefs, almost every person that had Mahomes on their team and coupled them, let's say they were able to get Hill and Hunt, or they were able to get Kelsey and Hunt. I mean, who knows if you could have got all four? Chances are you can't. That almost guaranteed you last year that you were in the playoffs. Just those people alone. And other stacks could be the Rams. Going with Gurley. It's always good to have a stack with a running back that catches the ball a lot. Something to the extent of, the Rams with Goff and Gurley, or, Cooks or Woods or Cooper Kupp. You're not going to get all of them, but if you find, the right stack, like a very sneaky stack could be, Dak Prescott throwing to Elliott and Cooper. That's a nice stack that a lot of people won't have. But if you look at like the second half of last season, they started throwing to Elliott a lot more. And Dak Prescott was, pretty hot quarterback the second half to the last third of the season. And his numbers were climbing, so were Cooper's. And these are guys you could probably get in late rounds. Maybe not so much, Zeke Elliott, but as far as like Cooper and Dak Prescott going against a soft defense, and let's say you have Kelsey and Mahomes, and they're going against a really tough defense, that might be a nice, switch. Although, Mahomes and Kelsey do pretty well against any defense. There might be sneaky plays next year, as well with the 49ers. Something that you might want to look at. But, they have a quarterback, Garoppolo, coming back from injury. That's kind of, hard to judge how that's going to work out. And their, tight end and receivers were doing well with a different quarterback, and sometimes the chemistry, takes a while to kind of shake out. When is it risky? Let's say perhaps you go with a player such as Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton. You have those players, in a stack, and then Hilton gets an injury, and, it doesn't work out because he's pretty much out, although Luck may have been, a nice stack. Their running back situation is sort of solidifying a little bit. They were trying to figure out what running back to work with last year. This year it'll be a little much of a more of a safer bet. But you got to be careful about running backs by committee, because that could ruin a stack. Guys that are injury prone. I mean, is it that ridiculously, obvious or it's something you shouldn't know that Hilton got injured? He's always injured. It's like Odell Beckham. A lot of people, play Mayfield and play, Landry and Beckham in a stack. And I'm like, well, you're not going to get both of them. And, Landry and, Mayfield, they didn't have good numbers last year, so you got to be careful there. And yes, they were double teaming Landry, and, now they will get more attention on, Beckham. if Beckham's healthy, but they also have a nice tight end, and they have great running backs coming out of the backfield that are going to catch the ball. And then they have Hunt coming back at the end of the season, which he's good at catching the ball. And they keep talking about how they want to spread the offense, and they have good receivers outside of Landry and outside of Beckham. So, and Mayfield is still, he threw more touchdowns than a lot of guys and, all that jazz. But, he runs around a lot and runs a lot. And they want to have a balanced, attack. So I know people salivate at the opportunity of, basically having Landry, and Beckham. But that's a stack I would probably stay away from, to be perfectly blunt. Those that's basically what stacking is. And if you guess it right, when you get a good offense like a Goff, who's probably his numbers going to climb, I think next year considerably, and he could be a sneaky play. And Gurley's numbers will come down a little bit, but I think they're going to focus a little bit more on putting Gurley in passing situations, which could help a stack, especially if you're in a PPR league. Now, a lot of the advice I give is PPR related. So, keep that in mind, because that is basically the trend that a lot of leagues are going in. And the difference between standard and PPR is in PPR, you're getting a point or half a point anytime someone catches a reception, even a running back. And a lot of leagues are moving to that. In standard, you don't. You just get the yardage of if he makes a catch. But, the league itself in the NFL is starting to really work itself towards more of a stacking philosophy, because now a lot of coaches, and the game's changing, it's becoming more of a passing league. And more than that, it's becoming more of a pass to the running back league. Look at the teams that excelled, last year, the Patriots. They always excel. But one thing, the Patriots did for many years ahead of their time, dating back to many, many years ago, is they were one of the first teams that really started using the running back as a wide receiver and out of the backfield, and those dump off, passes. Now it seems like every team is doing that. The Patriots, Kansas City, the Rams, New Orleans. Weren't those pretty much the top 4 teams? So the teams that really use the running back seem to be doing the best in the NFL. And if you're playing in a PPR league and you could couple a tight end with a running back and a quarterback, or a tight end with a quarterback, or a wide receiver with a quarterback, and even if you can't get a quarterback, maybe you just want to get you're not able to get it in your draft, you could always go for a running back wide receiver stack. So those are basically more or less how you do stacking. But when you have an explosive offense, and I have actually two that I think are the best stacks, some of which I may have mentioned so far, and some of which I may not. They are reserved for my secret videos that I post for people that subscribe to fantasyfootballrsvp.com. And I provide special videos, newsletter, part of the leagues, a whole bunch of stuff that you're privy to, inside information. I give out probably 60-70% of the information to you for free, and your viewing I probably save about 30%, the real inside info that's going to probably make you win your league or not. And that basically costs you $7.77 a month. Not a lot of money, but appreciative. It keeps it funds the website, the company, the research, the people that work here, so on and so forth. But more than that, it gives you the chance to chat in a chat room, special chat room with high-end players and throw ideas past, be part of leagues, get, I might give the top 10, picks for running backs, but then I'll list 11 through 20 in the subscription place, or I might list the top 10 in every position, but for the flex position, I'll put it in the website. So, and you have access to me, for more or less about an hour a month, where we can, for 7 minutes, 7 minutes, a week if you want, and you can speak to me on Skype for 7 minutes. Everything's 7, lucky number 7. And you could also email me your ideas, and I will email you back. I like to keep the emails more or less to one a week. I don't do that with a fine-tooth comb, but if you give me your ideas for the week, I'll respond back to you as to what I think you should do, and you could even email me your lineups. I have an uncanny ability to win leagues consistently for people, and I tend to think outside the box because I could evaluate players in a different way. Writing a book on human behavior and understanding, the mindset of players, and studying it my whole life for the better part of 40 years, plus even longer than that. And understanding injuries, like unrelated Kevin Durant injury in the NBA. I was telling everyone before he played, if he plays on a partially torn calf muscle, he is at risk for an Achilles tear. And I found it funny when officials of the team were saying they were completely surprised. But being a personal trainer, owning a sports management company, like knowing not to play Gurley late in the season and understanding the injury is just something I do every day, because I have, I'm a rehabilitation specialist, and I understand injuries that you're not going to see in the injury report. So there's a lot of, inside information. I think outside the box, stacking is a very good option that you want to do. And, inside the short video, the subscription-based videos that you could go on to fantasyfootballrsvp.com, I'll basically tell you the 2 best stacks of this year. So I want to wish you the best. This is Dean Curry, Fantasy Football RSVP. We're going to be popping a lot of videos in for the draft coming up. And have yourself a wonderful day.